Hello everyone. Welcome back to Kredict. You are in 45-day challenge of learning blockchain development. So, today is day 9 and we are proceeding with some cool interesting features of Solidity language. In previous video, we have seen about arrays in Solidity. If you don't know what is array in Solidity, just check out the previous video, or I generally recommend you to watch the whole series from video 1. And in today's video, we are going to see what are constructors in Solidity. So without wasting any time, let's get started. And for this, I'm just gonna open my browser. So this is my browser and this is Remix IDE. I hope you already following this series and may know about this IDE. This is a IDE used for writing smart contracts without installing anything on your local machine. So this is our folder in which we are creating smart contracts, and this is the last which we have created. In this you can see that v has a array of number table. In the last example we have seen how we can store a number table in array from taking input the number, and this is the function that returns us the whole array. So just close this, and constructor solves a interesting problem of this. As you remember, we cannot assign initial values in arrays directly. We have to initialize it with using functions. But let's see what are constructor, then we see what we can do with it. Okay, so just close this, and I'm gonna create a new file here. I'm gonna name it as just remove this, constructors.sol. You can name it whatever you want, and just quickly write the boilerplate of it. Identifier unlicensed. And I'm gonna name my contract as same as the name of file, which is con okay, not contract, it's constructor. So I hope you know what all these things I have described about all this stuff in previous videos. So just quickly close this to have a better view, and let me zoom it in so everybody can see it clearly. Okay, uh, I think it may confuse you, so I'm gonna change it to learning. Why I've changed this, you will get this very soon. Okay, so what are constructors? Constructors are those autonomous functions that will execute automatically whenever the contract is created. And if you know other object oriented languages, this is the same as constructor in classes. What are constructors? In classes in general, constructors are those methods which will execute automatically when we create any instance of that class, or you can say object. So here constructor also works same. Instead of used in class, we use it in here contract, and this is same. Whenever you deploy the contract or create an instance of that contract, the constructor will be automatically executed at once, and this is a one time run function. You cannot call it manually. This is the autonomous function. So why to use this? Just let me quickly show you. For example, if you want to deploy a contract with some initial values, like we can say we are creating a, you can say, pre-sale contract. uh, if you don't know what is pre-sale, just let me quickly explain you. Pre-sale is a smart contract that takes any currency in N returns the tokens. You can say it's like a shop, autonomous shop, which takes money and gives you the assets. Don't worry, we will see all this in later videos, and we also deploy and develop our own pre-sale smart contract. For now, just take it as an example. So here we are going to see a simple example of constructor. Let me quickly show you how this looks and how does it work. First of all, I'm going to create a variable here, int number, and I don't pass it any value initially. And I'm going to write a function here to return this number, or you can just simply say public. So this is a public variable. So Solidity automatically creates a getter function for it. And if I deploy this contract initially, just quickly deploy it. So learning and click on deploy. So you can see we have just one button here which says number, which is this. And if I click this, this returns 0 because the initial value or default value of any variable in Solidity, especially of integer type, is always 0. So we have not assigned any value to it, so it returned simply 0. Okay, so let's see what we can do with constructors. Now if I want to initialize any initial value to it, I can simply pass it like here, you can say 9. But this is somewhere hard coded, and we don't want to hard code the initial value. So you can use constructor. And how the constructor looks like, just quickly see. First of all, you have to write the keyword constructor. Constructor. Okay. Put opening and close brackets and these curly braces. So this is similar to a function which takes some argument in this braces, and this is the block of code which we want to execute when contract is deployed. So I'm going to simply pass here a number int num and just simply assign that num to number. Okay, so this is our constructor which takes a number and assign it to our own state variable. So if we are going to deploy this, you can see here we have a field. So while deploying the contract, we have to pass the value. For clearing purposes, remove this. Okay. So now I'm going to pass 45 and transact. Now here our contract is deployed. And if you open this and click on number, you can see we have our initial value which we have passed here while deploying the contract. So how this happens? This happens with the help of constructor. As its name suggests, it construct the initial stages of contract. So just close this, and we can pass here multiple variables if you want. Just assign it as, you can say, string public name, and just pass here the string, you can say not it's string memory, or you can say initial name, and just assign that name to this. Okay, so you can also do this in constructor. You can pass multiple values here and assign it, or even you can do some calculations or expressions here. I will show you just in a moment. Just quickly deploy this, clear this. Now here we have to pass both of values while deploying the contract. So I'm going to pass it here 98 and name in Robert John. Just click on transact, and here is our deployed contract. Just click on this. Now you can see it returned as 98 as the value we have passed in num, and in name it returned Robert John, which is the same as the value we have passed it while deploying. So I hope now you have the basic concept gathered in your mind what are constructor. So let's quickly see a more different example of using constructor. For example, we have a variable. Just quickly remove all this. Just, I'm gonna remove this here and this also. Why I'm okay? I'm pressing wrong key. Okay. So currently we have nothing in our contract, just a blank contract and a empty constructor. So this will do nothing. So just quickly create a. I'm gonna say it as not integer this time. Now we are dealing with the price and amount in Solidity. So always gonna use in 256, and I'm gonna say write as price. Okay. And imagine you have the price in form of, you can say, mm, in cents. Okay, you have value in cents, you want price in cents, or you want the price in dollars. You can say you want the price in dollars, but user have the value in cents only. So what you do, just take the value here in cents, you in 256 price in cents, and you can assign this value to price like this, and also do the calculation here. If you want, you can put these in braces, but this is not necessary, or this is totally up to you. You use braces when you do extra calculation and want to prioritize the execution of expressions, so then you can use braces. So just put public here so you can see the price. Just go to this, remove this, and I'm going to pass it here. You can say 500. Remember this in cents. Transact, open this, and you can see price here. So this is $5. Okay. So you can also do calculations and expressions in constructor. Even you can execute any logic like if or else condition here. For example, if, let's say, if user has price like 0, if price in cents is equal to 0, then set the price to, you can say, 2 $2, else price equal to price in cents, you can say divided by 100. So you can also do this kind of stuff in constructor, because constructor is generally a function that runs automatically while deploying the contract. Just keep this in mind and you will never forget the concept of constructor. Okay, so just open this, close this, remove here, and pass the value. Let's quickly pass the 0 transact. So we have passed 0 as the price, and you can see it handled the situation and assign the price to 2 if we have passed 0. Just remove this and redeploy by passing the value of 800. Just remove this extra 0 and transact. So you can see it assigned the value of 8. And if you are going to pass the value in, you can say, a larger number, for example a number that leads to a decimal point, for example 850. So in actual we expect it to be 8.50, but see what happens, it only returns 8. So while doing calculations, always keep this thing in mind that Solidity eliminates the whole decimal and decimal part, because there is no decimal type data in Solidity. So while doing calculations, always keep this in mind. Okay, so just delete or clear all this. Just close this for now. So this is how you can use constructor in general variables. Or now you may think about it, that how you can use this according to your conditions. And yes, there's one thing, You can create constructor or you cannot create constructor. This is optional, so it depends on your situation. If you want any initial values, then you may define constructor, or if you don't require, just don't define it. This is not a mandatory, this is optional, but generally we are going to use constructor a lot in our smart contracts. So let's quickly see an example with arrays. I'm going to remove the whole this thing. Okay, so I'm going to create a array here. You can say int of size 5, and I'm going to name it as, you can say, prices. Just do with prices here. I'm going to create a constructor, and I suggest you to code with me for better learning experience. Just pass the array here, int of size 5, and write here memory, and name it to mm, initial prices, and open the braces, and just assign the prices to, or sorry, you can say assign the initial prices to prices and put the semicolon. So this is how, and to get the value, we are creating a function here that returns the whole array. Function return array, which takes no argument, it's a public, and it's a view which returns of int 5 type. I'm doing this quickly because I hope that you know these concepts, how this function work, how to write this public view and returns all this stuff. So that's why I'm not repeating this. If you still don't know what is this, just watch videos from start. You will have a better understanding on all these concepts. Just I'm going to return here our array which is prices. So now the small contract has ready, which names with learning, has a array of size 5 which has nothing initially, but now we have a constructor which initialize the passed array to the prices, and this is a function which returns the whole array at once. So just open this. Okay, so now we have to set the initial price of size 5, so we are going to set it as 4 comma 8 comma 10 comma 6 comma 8 again, or you can say 1. So I think these are 5 values. Yes, it is. Just click on transact. So here is our deployed contract, and click on return array, and now you can see all these values are assigned to array which have passed here. Okay, so just close this. So I hope now you know what are constructors and how does this work in Solidity. And this is nothing new if you are coming from any other object oriented programming languages like Java, Python, C, C++. Oh, sorry, not to mention C, because C is not a object oriented programming language. Okay, so like C++, Java, or Python, you can say, or other programming languages. JavaScript also supports object orientation languages. So yeah, it is. So I hope this is clear to you, and I suggest you to do some practice by yourself. Try creating some functions, try creating some another variables, and now you have uh, enough knowledge to create a basic smart contract that do something. Okay, so only watching videos is not gonna help you at all. Just watch video, try to code along, or if you cannot code with me, just code after the video. First watch the video, then code, or if you have the arrangement, then code along with me. And if you want, you can prepare notes, but there is not a necessary step, because while doing practice it's all get automatically remembered, so there is no need to create notes. But if you are that kind of person who create notes for everything, just you can create notes according to these videos. And yeah, some topics are off a bit in this series, but don't worry, we are covering each topics, and at the end This all gonna make sense, and then you know what the thing we are doing here. So just follow along, watch all the videos, and try to stay consistent. Never skip any video in between. So this is all from me for today. You are watching Kredict, and this is 45-day learn blockchain development challenge. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Till then, stay safe.